This video will have a look at some of the benefits of being self-reliant, which will be beneficial over the coming years and decades. There is much talk globally about the so-called energy transition. For the last 100 years or so, we've relied on various forms of energy. In the 1800s, civilization was primarily powered by biomass, which includes things like wood, plant material, and animal products. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, coal took off, as did the Industrial Revolution. In the mid-1950s, oil joined the energy mix and rapidly became a major primary energy source. At about the same time, natural gas started to enter the energy market, and by 2022, biomass, coal, oil, and natural gas made up over 90% of the global primary energy mix. All of these energy sources have a high energy density and energy return. Now we're moving to energy sources such as solar and wind that have a much lower energy return. Therefore, it makes sense that we'll see a decline in economic output. Hence, why it's important to think critically about how we move forward and build some form of self-reliance into our lives. As we saw during COVID and other natural disasters, supermarkets are highly vulnerable to supply shocks. Local food production that doesn't require long-distance logistics can be a more resilient option, as can growing your own food. Growing can greatly increase your resilience and food security. Food shortages and or supply disruptions can occur at any time due to floods, droughts, or any other extreme weather events which can impact supply chains. Supporting local farmers and farmers markets is another way of helping ensure food security of a region. While we're being told inflation is running at anywhere from 2 to 4% in most Western economies, anyone who pays the bills for a household knows this is nonsense. If we factor in many of the common items and costs that most households have to budget for on a weekly and monthly basis, the figure would be well over 20% as a minimum. Growing your own food can be more cost effective in the longer term once you have established a system and have the required tools and equipment. If you don't have access to land or some space to even put a few modest garden beds, then there are other options like community gardens and foraging. There are countless ideas and options online for those looking at ways to reduce one's expenditure and seek out alternatives to homegrown food production. Personal health and well-being are crucial for building self-reliance. It's very difficult to be able to build any sort of self-reliance if you're constantly ill or degraded. There are also numerous health benefits of homegrown fruit and vegetables and being in nature. Studies have shown that simply being in nature and a natural environment can have depression, general health, heart health, obesity, post-traumatic stress, stroke, and overall well-being. Growing your own food ensures you know what is on your food and what you're eating. It also helps you get more nutrient-dense food that hasn't been degraded from the industrial food system. Studies are now showing the more diversity and variety we have in our diet, the better for our gut health. Over recent decades, as a society, we've focused more on the convenience and cost of food. This has created health issues for us as individuals and as a society. To turn this around, we need to take control of our food choices and do our best to produce our own food. Embracing self-reliance encourages personal growth and development. By taking ownership of what we do and how we live, we can expand our skill set, knowledge, and experience. By giving away our autonomy to government, large corporations, and other organisations, we make ourselves vulnerable and dependent upon these systems. Building self-reliance often leads to better financial management and accountability. By being self-sufficient and resourceful, individuals are more likely to make sound financial decisions and secure their financial well-being. Living off-grid or a more self-reliant life generally involves residing in a rural or remote area surrounded by nature, or simply being more connected to the land and the surrounding environment. Connection to the natural world can improve one's mental health, reduce stress, and foster a sense of appreciation for the natural world. You don't have to be off-grid in the middle of nowhere to enjoy the benefits of nature. Nature is all around us. We just have to be present and enjoy it, and the natural world we can access on a daily basis. Governments are for most part broke and running out of options. We are seeing a global push by governments and major banks for a central bank digital currency at the moment, which would tighten controls on individuals and destroy their freedoms, while providing banks with even greater profits and more control over its customers. Greater self-autonomy refers to our ability as individuals to make independent decisions and take control of our own lives. Ultimately, having greater self-autonomy leads to increased satisfaction, fulfillment, and well-being, as it allows us to live authentically and pursue paths that are meaningful to us. While technology offers convenience and efficiency, over-reliance on it can pose risks such as data breaches, cyber attacks, or technological failures. Being self-reliant helps build a buffer and maintains a balance between technological convenience and practical hands-on self-sufficiency. Building a more self-reliant life can help offset any challenges that may present in the coming years. Self-reliant individuals tend to be more resilient in the face of challenges. They possess the skills and mindset needed to adapt to changing circumstances and overcome obstacles without relying heavily on external assistance. Having the ability to successfully navigate through tasks and situations independently boosts one's self-confidence. Let's face it, there's a lot going on at the moment, and being self-sufficient and self-reliant really doesn't sound like such a bad idea. There's really no downside. Being self-reliant or self-sufficient can alleviate many of the stresses we see in our current society. This gives us more control over how we live and our lives in general. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please share and subscribe to our channel so we can spread the love of syntropics, regenerative farming and self-reliance along the way.